Hi, it's Kevin May from PhocusWire, and dare I say delighted, because it's been a while since we've actually seen each other. But really pleased, Brent Hoberman. I'm trying to get this title right because there's a few. Co-founder and executive chairman of Founders Factory. Can we use that one?
Just that one. All right.
Just that one. Okay. Right. And ex-co-founder and CEO of lastminute.com. Like I say, it's been a while, but thank you very much for joining us.
And we should add Founders Forum and First Minute Capital
and any others.
Karakuri and Made.com. But then that's done. Then that's all right.
Okay. What about MyDeco?
Yeah, we can talk about MyDeco.
Okay.
Not as good as Made.com, but lessons to be learned.
Lessons to be learned from MyDeco.
Everyone will do fine out of it. So
okay, maybe we'll get to those. Who knows? We were talking just before we went on air about inspiration. Where do you get inspiration from generally now with what you do as an investor and those kind of things?
Look, the most obvious thing to get inspiration is from young entrepreneurs who my job is meeting entrepreneurs and trying to help and support them. But so clearly you get inspiration from them. But I still think I get inspiration from like bad service. What is it that should be better in life, right? So it's always problem statement. So if you look at lastminute.com was, what did I want as a customer? I wanted to do everything at the last minute. MyDeco.com was, I wanted to visualize my house. I wanted to know how to understand the furniture industry better. I wanted to see why it wasn't moving faster in 2007. Made.com was, okay, supply chain disruption in furniture. Let's do that. Didn't understand why one sofa should be £5,000 and one 500.
Right.
The answer is it shouldn't be that different. We should change the industry. And then robotics, that we've just done robotics in restaurants. So to say, look, let's work out how robots can change the food industry, because it's a why now moment. So the inspiration is, well, what would I love as a customer? I'd love to go to a place where it was like Benihana's meets robots, and the robots were entertaining, cooking, and having fun with you.
Okay. You're inspired by opportunity, and you're inspired by young entrepreneurs. Do you still get inspired by the way big companies are run?
But we do a lot of work with big companies. So one of the things we identified is that Europe has world-class corporates. Running a corporate, and when you have thousands of people innovating, is just really hard. It's not that these corporates are stupid, they're run by very smart people, but there are structural reasons why it's really difficult. So we have looked at various businesses where we can help do that match of the free R&D and innovation that comes from the entrepreneur and from the corporate that can scale the entrepreneur but cannot fail. It's very hard to fail within a corporate, very easy to fail as a startup. You mesh the two together and it's a perfect marriage for innovation. So we do that with Founders Factory, and we can go into that more later, and we do that with Founders Intelligence, our consultancy, which helps corporates do that. And we also have Founders Keepers, where we find talent for corporates as well, digital talent.
Okay. Why the startup failure rate in travel is pretty high? Well, is that because it's often such a customer acquisition game and you just need money to do that? Or is there something else around travel? It's just a complex product? Or why has it been so ridiculously high for so long?
I think today particularly, you've got to go and try and be really innovative again now, because we're quite late to the game. We heard earlier about the dominance of the big platforms. You're also, obviously everyone listening to this knows that it's a low margin industry. You also know, therefore, that why should capital be attracted to this industry over other industries which are also at the beginning of their, to use your term, disruption journey. So if you go to health tech or ed tech, people are saying, well, wow, we're at the beginning of understanding how you manipulate big data in these trillion-dollar sectors. And travel people are worried, probably incorrectly, that the game's over with these big players. But what lots of people came up to me after this morning and said, actually, the big players are not innovating fast enough. They are finding it hard. They're not customer-centric enough. There are these big opportunities, but there's still people already saying that it is hard for them to find capital that will bet on them.
Yeah. Some would say that, some of the big OTAs are actually incredibly customer-centric, but not focused on innovation. So disputing that point, possibly.
Yeah. Well, although you could argue what you just said is almost a contradiction in terms, because if you're not focused on innovation, how can you be customer-centric enough?
Unless customers just don't need the innovation because it just works the way it works.
But I think I could describe use cases to you of innovation, of gaps in the process flow now for travel inspiration and stuff, where of course a customer wants it,
Yeah.
and nobody's doing it because it's just a little bit hard.
Right.
So I mean, we could go on about personalization and that travel inspiration journey and say, why is it that lastminute.com 15 years ago tried to get people to say, I want to go somewhere where it's hot this weekend, where I can go with my kids and spend under £200, and I can play golf. And that search string query is still not done well by anyone. You know, it's quite shocking, actually. And you can say, well, they're being customer-centric because they're serving customers well. Well, they may still be serving them better than anyone else, but I don't think they're serving them as well as it could be done with the technology that's currently available.
And do you therefore think that it's a startup, perhaps backed by you, that will hopefully kind of solve that problem? Or do you think maybe a Google will help do it?
Trugel's coming back, I hear. You know, I remember.
Well, there's a name that we used to use.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny. I actually Googled Trugel yesterday, and there wasn't much on it. Most of the references were from 2006 or 7, funnily enough. So yeah, where will it come from? Look, I think the challenge is you will need to have such a credible team that can build quite a lot of money. But I mean, to do it. But then I look at some businesses, like one I was on the advisory board of, I'm very proud to say, which is Love Holidays, ex-lastminute.com guy.
Yep.
It was a reasonably sized exit, actually, and it's still an independent company, so it was exit to private equity for, I don't think the numbers were public, but pretty good. And it was just doing some of the things better. And it was trying to actually work on some of those search queries and strings, actually, as well as dynamic packaging engines behind it. So it was interesting when I saw it, and part of me was sort of like, well, didn't we try this 10 years ago? Which is also another problem if you're someone like me looking at industry, that's when you shouldn't be doing that industry, because you've got to come at it fresh.
Right.
Yeah.
How do you look back with fondness at those lastminute.com years? I mean, those first couple of years, where the profile was just crazy, wasn't it? I mean, the .com darling label, blah, 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 blah.
But what's exciting, it wasn't, honestly, the profile, and I did sort of self-reflect afterwards, and it wasn't that, yeah, there was a moment before the IPO, we were on the cover of Business Week or something, and you walk into a room and you thought people thinking, hey, you know, whatever. But actually you realize that was meaningless. What was really exciting was taking ideas into action. And what I loved is relevance, yes. I also loved having the best toolkit of toys. So to be able to spend £25 million a year on technology when hardly anyone else could, and hire the best technical minds to work on some of the most exciting cutting edge projects, doing voice recognition before anyone, doing location-based discounts before anyone on mobile phones, doing restaurant food delivery before anyone, doing cinema tickets packaged with restaurants in new ways, being able to have an idea and have millions of customers look at it and buy it, that was exhilarating.
Yeah. What mistakes do you think you made?
Yeah, the biggest mistake I talk about often is the fact that our best people, we were so intoxicated by marketing, brand, and being new, that we were much less intoxicated than, let's say, Bookings and Expedia about back office efficiency and operations. And I think what I slightly naively thought is, you can pay people to do that and not be as passionate about it.
Okay.
So I think where we,
because it was very functional.
Yeah, and what Martha and I were good at is getting people passionate about what we were passionate about.
Right.
And if we'd really been money grabbing and thinking about the money of this in the end, we should have been more passionate about things like finance systems and back end efficiencies.
Yeah.
And put smarter people, our best people onto that. We did, of course, I don't want to denigrate the people we had on. We had some very good people, but our best people would naturally gravitate to the sexier bits of the business. And we should have made the finance systems and the back end sexier. And
which, bearing in mind what you've just said, would you concede then that those mistakes, if we can call them mistakes, is what potentially let a brand like Booking.com kind of come in your vapor trail behind you? So
quickly on the Bookings, because actually I was at Bookings this morning talking to Olivier, and I think it's a really interesting story of Bookings. So with us, the first thing is I've had lots of luck, so I'm not complaining, but a little bit of bad luck was actually, I think we bought 14 companies.
Yeah.
The 15th one that hit my desk was Bookings.com. And I thought, God, I'd love to look at this because I love buying companies, but I also knew my board would say, you're insane. We've already let you buy too many. So there was no way I could have done that. Then what happened is the model was explained to me at Bookings, this sort of commission model. And the way commission, everyone's commission, the way people, the hotel suppliers would all be on the platform at a 10% commission, and they bid it up.
Yeah.
And therefore everybody would come on the platform. and you didn't have to have salespeople. So very simply, everyone sort of understands that now. So I wasn't a total muppet. In 2005, after I sold the business to Travelocity in 05-06, I actually did have that moment where, right, now these guys don't have to be as short-term as me because they're a bigger company. I had to be very short-term running a public company.
Yeah.
So I was like, guys, it's obvious. There's a better business model here for hotels. Let's change. So I will tell you that they did not change, and I did try and convince them. It was pretty obvious, but I understand from their point of view too, public markets, lower commissions for a couple of quarters, might have been tough to sell.
Yeah.
Historically, I would say should have been done, but I understand why it's challenging to do as a public company.
So you wish, on reflection, you wish you'd bought them and not deckchair.com or something like that?
I didn't buy deckchair.com.
Which was
Bob Geldof. We bought Travel Price, we bought Degree Tour, we bought Holiday Autos, we bought a load more. We bought lastminute.de in Germany. Anyway, the list goes on. We bought Urban Bite, which was the restaurant food delivery one, Dutch business. We're in Holland today.
Very good.
Yeah.
Just looking forward then, what's next? What's next for you? And
yeah, well, all of this stuff, it's sort of weird.
To kind of referencing back to what you first started talking about.
Lastminute.com anymore. I try not to be like the two Muppets, or I don't talk much about the travel industry. Actually, I mean, I think the bits of the travel industry have excited me. I said, love holidays, get your guide. I was one of the first people to back that. That's become a unicorn business.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. One Fine Stay was another nice story of a travel company we backed.
Yeah.
But then the big travel play we're doing now, because we are talking about travel, is Founders Factory, which is this corporate-backed accelerator incubator, where we have sort of soon 8 sectors in the UK, and we will be in 4 countries by the end of the year. But we are backed in the UK by EasyJet. So we accelerate 5 companies every year in travel, and we incubate, in other words, launch from scratch 2 every year in travel. So the 2 I spoke about quickly earlier that we're doing in travel with EasyJet, 2 of many, but is BRB, Be Right Back, very millennial, customer facing, subscription business, £50 a month, and then you get you get a pre-selected range of holidays. It's doing really well. It's struck a chord, which is lovely. And then the other one is Kite, Kyte, which is saying, why has the GDS system not been disrupted in these 20 years since I've been in the travel industry?
Okay.
And
why
I think
hasn't
there's
it?
a why now moment. I think obviously it's been protected by things like Interline, tickets and all that sort of stuff. It's been protected by the big legacy carriers who obviously own some of the GDSs and have stakes in them. And also I think we're getting to a point where trust in decentralized databases is getting much higher. So it's a sort of why now moment. Why is this possible now? And also bundling, the fact that it's actually really hard for the GDSs to do bundling. It's actually much easier for new technology to come in and do it. It means that now is the moment we think that this is going to take off.
Okay, Brent Hoberman, thank you very much. Thank you.